First of all, I'd like to recognize my wife and my family. Thank you for being here. One thing that my wife has learned about me is I'm incredibly emotional. So if I break the tear a couple of times, please don't be frightened. I have to tell you, coming back to Stanstead, I think it's been 20 years since the last I was here, it's been very touching, very emotional. In putting together my presentation, I tried to think of all the stories that I had here at Stanstead in terms of what I could share with you as graduating students. And I felt, you know what, you know them all. Because they're the same thing. I mean, when I first came to Stanstead, what did I learn? I learned about people. The cliques that we have. The competition amongst each other. The friendships that we've established. The teamwork that we've developed. And the personalities that we've come to learn. It was an eye-opener for me. I mean, one very small example was when I came from my home country, I did not know what sarcasm was. So I always thought everybody was being really nice, and they said, "Oh, what a great athlete you are." And I couldn't catch a ball. It was only later I found out who my true friends were. The other aspect of Stanstead that's going to stay with you is the teachers. Coming back after 30 years, many of them are still here. Mr. Denny, Coach, Mr. Gravel, Mr. Gallant, Gupper, the boss, who I got to see back, Mr. Phillips, and also Mr. Ashwood. I wasn't able to take physics too far, Mr. Ashwood. They will become your family, if they have not already become your family. Stanstead will be that place of your sanctuary, a place you will always be able to revert back to. When life starts going crazy and things become unpredictable and you're in unknown territories, coming back to Stanstead for a day or for a weekend gives you that peace of mind. Something that you know, something that you can trust. I have to say to you, coming back here after 30 years and still seeing many of the faces that were there really is incredible to me. Because it makes what I experienced real. They were more than teachers. They were confidants. They were advisors. They were a home away from home. That security blanket that we always need, no matter how old you are in life. The extra activities. The rivalries. I can sit here and recant stories of BCS games, painting the goalpost of BCS in red, but not knowing they had painted their post the night before, so it turned out looking pink. The road trips, and looking forward to the meals off campus. I know it's unfortunate you've lost your track program, but I always remember the one thing was the scents. The smell of fall, the smell of winter, and the smell of spring. And each sport that we played allowed us to really touch those and become in touch with them. And those will become nostalgia. Every time that you're going to smell that, I guarantee your mind will reflect back to a story of a friend of yours, a game that you played. Even today, I can still see pictures in my mind like they were just yesterday. The most important one, winning and losing. And winning together and losing together. I remember playing a game here at BCS, here against BCS, a game that we should have won. And the last second game, last play of the game, I think, boss, was they threw out a little pass to the side. Guy scantered down in slow motion in my mind for a touchdown for them to win the game. So I'll tell you, BCS never beat us again after that. Drum and choir. I can't sing. I remember as a responsibility as being a prefect and a head boy, I was forced to join the choir. And I can see by the sounds of it that they've probably done a better job in recruiting these days than when I was there. student council, and in learning about politics, and in learning about lobbying and trying to gain your peers' support. And where it didn't always go right, being a head boy, the prefect, and the responsibility. The best part, getting those young kids to come in and clean our shoes. The other thing I remember, often too well, was the things that we should not be doing. Larry, the taxi man, who were able to somehow convince to buy some beer for us and go down to the pits. Those were the great days. I'm sure Mr. Goldfield will be good. I have to say to you that you will find yourself continuously being influenced by these years. Your experience at Stanstead. It's uniquely yours and cherished. But I really came here today to talk to you about what you don't know is about the company. And maybe to hope and give you some inspiration and some guidance in terms of making your life a bit better. I wasn't good at it. Said when I first came to Stanstead, I did one thing is I sat down and I established what goals I wanted to achieve. Unfortunately for me, I had achieved all my goals by grade 11. And I never reevaluated my goals until years afterwards. So I have to say to you, write it down. Writing it down and keeping it in a little piece of paper or putting it in a computer somewhere and referring to it on a constant basis keeps you to thrive for something. And it keeps you focused on being able to achieve it. Don't be scared to keep adjusting it, but always adjust it up. When you go to university, the first thing that's going to be striking you is independence. I remember when I got to Bishop's University and I was drinking a beer in class and the teacher walked in and I immediately hiding the beer somewhere and not realizing that life had changed and that wasn't necessary anymore. At university, all of a sudden you're going to be confronting challenges a little bit more by yourself. Instead of having comrades, because when you go to university, the relationship you've developed with your student faculty here is not going to be the same. You're not going to be spending the same amount of time with the people that you're going to be meeting with. So all of a sudden, you're now going to be left a little bit more by yourself to achieve things. University is going to be a defining period for you. It's going to be learning and interpretation. At high school, you learn. Don't do a lot of interpretation. All of a sudden, when you get to university, you need to start developing a mind of your own and fostering your own ideas and your own thoughts and your own philosophies. Don't be scared to experiment. The next phase after university is what I call the era of responsibility. Please pray it doesn't come in a hurry. The era of responsibility is an era where the impact of your decision on others becomes very important. That you now have nobody to blame but yourself. Your goals are your goals. You have more choices to make every single day, and you have to now start narrowing down those choices because you don't have the time and you don't have the resources to make it all work. And finally, the biggest responsibility of all, family. There are some great times for it, but it's a different time. And I have to tell you, enjoy the years that you have coming with no responsibility. Cherish them.